Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Give me a follow on Twitter because free agency is here. The draft is just around the corner, and I'm going to have all of your Bears updates over there in addition to this channel at HGrahamNFL. Catch more updates on my Twitter page. Let's get into the free agency rumors of the day. This one kind of started to circulate yesterday and is still floating around today. Trent Williams to the Chicago Bears. I'll give this one smoking J. I won't completely dismiss it. A report coming from me and Rapoport, also Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune, is that the Bears have inquired about Trent Williams, which is pretty fascinating because as of now, they don't have a ton of cap space. Now they can certainly clear more cap space by trading or cutting Kyle Fuller. You can also cut Jimmy Graham or sign him to an extension to clear some cap. But this would be fascinating considering the Bears, A, still need a quarterback, but B, also need to upgrade at really both tackle spots. Obviously, Bobby Massey was cut. He is not a part of this team anymore, and Charles Leno Jr. could either still get cut or you could kick him out to right tackle if you were to sign a guy like Trent Williams. Now, he's going to cost a lot. The chatter is that he's going to take the biggest offer he gets out there, which is probably going to be in the range of $20 million per year, if not 21 or 22. Now, you could certainly backload that, pay less on the first year, and then obviously pay more down the road and handle it that type of way, which is what a lot of teams are doing with contracts this year. Take the Chiefs, for example. They gave Joe Thuney $80 million over 5 years. His cap hit in year one, though, only $4.5 million. So I want to ask you guys this. Would you give Trent Williams $20+ million per year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I would if I knew I was getting one of these top-level quarterbacks, so I'll type my Y if I know the Bears are getting an elite quarterback. Keep this in mind as well. Russell Wilson, one of his biggest gripes in Seattle is he wants a better offensive line. Is it possible that the Bears are kind of making an indirect pitch saying, hey, we're going to go sign Trent Williams? Russ, you intrigued? Now, obviously, Seattle has to be the one to decide that they want to trade a guy like Russell Wilson, but there's not a lot of downside to signing Trent Williams, even if you don't get Russell Wilson, because, hey, this is arguably the best left tackle in the National Football League, but I just did want to throw that little nugget in there as well. This is kind of how things sit as of now, at least in my opinion. Alex Bars played right guard the second half of last season. I've got him at right tackle for now with James Daniels coming back. Whitehair restructured his contract. You got Mustafa in the middle there, and for now, Charles Leno at left tackle. I would prefer to cut him and save more money and go target a guy like a Trent Williams or someone in the NFL draft, or at worst, kick him out to right tackle and make Alex Bars a swing guard tackle type. That is certainly an option as well, but I'll be honest, I did not see this coming, at least the interest level. Now, again, one smoking J on actually getting him, but the fact that the Bears are interested, that's something to keep an eye on over the next day or two, because I would expect Trent Williams to make a decision sooner rather than later. Now, get subscribed to Chicago Bears Now because we're going to have you covered throughout NFL free agency. It's just day 2, and hey, we're still in the legal tampering period. Although, can we get rid of that phrase? Free agency is here, baby. That's why you got to subscribe. YouTube.com/Bears Now. That is the place to go. That is this channel. So go ahead and subscribe today. How about signing Andy Dalton? I'm going to go 2 smoking J's on this one. It sounds like there's increasing buzz there. Brad Biggs saying the buzz is increasing around Dalton to Chicago, and I got a lot of thoughts on this one. A little background first. I mean, you got to at least acknowledge the free agent options, they are decreasing. They are falling off here. There are not as many free agent quarterbacks available. The interesting part of it is, as we look at some of the guys who have signed, Cam Newton up to $14 million, Ryan Fitzpatrick up to $12, Jameis Winston up to $12, all these kind of incentive-based. Obviously, Fitzpatrick and Winston will probably have to compete for the starting job. Sounds like Cam's going to be the starter in New England, but we'll have to wait and see. But my take on Dalton to Chicago is, don't you kind of already have that? This doesn't really make sense to me, considering Nick Foles is on the roster. Now, I've seen the idea, trade Nick Foles. Apparently the Broncos could be a potential suitor. You're still going to have to eat like $5 of $7 million there. So what? Is Andy Dalton only going to cost you $2 million? No, we just saw bridge quarterbacks getting upwards of $10+ million, which is what Andy Dalton is. I don't think this makes a lot of sense from a financial standpoint. I do think Andy Dalton would be a slight upgrade from Nick Foles. I don't think it's night and day. I don't think, let's say Nick Foles is a 7-9 quarterback with this Bears roster. I don't think Andy Dalton's 10-6 quarterback. Maybe he gets you an extra win. He's a little bit more mobile. I think he's got, a slightly more, intangibles, I guess you could say, at this point in his career, because Foles is just such a stiff. But I don't think there's a clear-cut answer to this question, which is why I'm in the camp of this doesn't make sense. Who's the better quarterback, AD, NF? I'd probably rather have Dalton, but I'd also rather just pick the cheaper one, which I don't think you're going to financially have a scenario where you can trade Foles and have Dalton, and overall you net less money on your cap. That just isn't how Foles' contract is built. That's not going to be the way it plays out. AD or NF, or, like me, who cares? Like, if you bring in Andy Dalton, whether you keep or trade Foles, I mean, could you imagine, okay, George McCaskey, Ted Phillips, we're going to keep you, Matt Nagy, we're going to keep you, Ryan Pace, and their response is, we're going to enter training camp with Nick Foles and Andy Dalton in a quarterback battle, McCaskey family. How do you guys feel about that? That's a disaster if that happens. So surely, if they do bring in Andy Dalton, that doesn't take them out of the trade sweepstakes. At least I would hope not. Surely this is not a potential, like, hey, this could be our quarterback for 2021 scenario, because that would be really, really bad for Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. And I do believe even if you signed a Dalton, doesn't mean you're necessarily out of the mix for one of these guys, especially those top two who are obviously the big fish targets. But I got to tell you, this is pretty uninspiring. These Andy Dalton to Chicago rumors doesn't do much for me. Again, slight increase from Nick Foles, but at the end of the day, you're not making a playoff run with Andy Dalton at this point in his career. And my take, too, is, look, if you can't get Watson, you can't get Wilson, hell, if you can't get Darnold or even a Garoppolo, just focus on the draft. Don't bring in Andy Dalton. Like, I just don't get that whatsoever. But this is the situation the McCaskies created when they brought back a coach and GM that were going to enter 2021 on the hot seat. They don't want to go down with a rookie quarterback. That's the issue. That's the issue that was created. So hopefully they're still pursuing a major trade, but it takes two to tango. And, man, I hope we don't end up with Andy Dalton, Nick Foles quarterback competition in Chicago. Who will be the Bears quarterback? We'll keep asking this question for 2021. It's like the new Trubisky versus Foles. Now it's just, who's it going to be? Because no one knows what's going on. Let me know what you guys think. What is your gut feeling on who the Bears' 2021 starting quarterback will be next season? Now, give me a follow on Twitter. I want to remind you guys here, look, we're getting as many videos out as we can, but during free agency, there's a lot going on. So, follow me. You'll have more Bears updates over there. Certainly we'll continue to plug out videos every single day, but we can't hit every little nugget that comes out. That's why you follow me on Twitter, @HGramNFL. More Bears NFL coverage over there. Real quick, wanted to get you guys caught up on the Bears free agency tracker. Pretty quiet, right? I'll just go back as far as the tag with Allen Robinson and everything since then. Cairo Santos, 3-year deal. Pat O'Donnell, money to be determined there. Mario Edwards back on a 3-year deal, which I like even more considering, look, shout out Roy Robertson-Harris for getting the bag, but you get Mario Edwards for less than half the cost. I don't think there's a major difference there in terms of production if Edwards can keep his head on straight. So the Bears sit right now. We'll update you guys throughout free agency here on this channel.